Hi everyone. I wanted to go live today to talk about some trademarks of an unhealthy INFJ, some things to look out for, and if you are an INFJ, sorry about the background noise, my air conditioner is running, it's pretty hot. If you are an INFJ or you know someone who is an INFJ, then looking out for these things is probably a good idea. And if you notice any of these traits in you, it's not the end of the world, but take note of them. It's a good thing to start now. Once you notice them, you can start correcting them. So, I'm going to start here at the top. So I made notes so I didn't deviate too much and go on rants. So, characteristics of an unhealthy INFJ. They have thoughts of wanting often and seek fulfillment from others. Now, it's natural for an INFJ type. Oh, that felt good. It's natural for an INFJ type to want deep, long-lasting relationships with other people and connections. We crave that intimate connection, even if it's not with a spouse. We crave the intimacy that comes with connecting with other people. We crave the intimacy that comes from friendships and warm-hearted, loving relationships with other people. However, when an INFJ is constantly wanting on the inside, when an INFJ is constantly, how do I put this? They have these desires inside of them, almost like it's a craving. But they have these desires inside of them that makes them constantly feel like they want for something from somebody else. Yes, we're naturally giving people, but whenever we're around someone that we feel connected with, an unhealthy INFJ constantly has a need, something that needs to be met. I'll quote a couple of statements from my ex-fiance, what she had said to me. She had said, what she said is bright. Try to stay in front of the camera. She had said, there's always something, or you always have a need, or as soon as one thing is dealt with, something else comes up. And this wasn't simply personal issues. This was me constantly asking her for things. And I'll give you some examples as we go on. But number one is constantly having thoughts of wanting something from somebody else. And you know what? I'm going to turn my camera because I don't like having to face the sun. I didn't realize it was going to be that bright. Actually, it wasn't. The sun just set at that angle. Alright, so we'll turn this around. There we go. I might actually reduce the background noise too. I think it will. So INFJs have a constant, that echo is strange. There we go. INFJs have constant thoughts of wanting, that's broken. All right. Of wanting things from other people, and they seek fulfillment from others instead of finding fulfillment in themselves and in what they do and in their acts of service. They look to somebody else to satisfy them emotionally. We crave these deep, intimate connections with people, and an unhealthy INFJ will go to someone expecting them to give and fill that void, that craving that we naturally have to just want to connect and love people. And for an INFJ, it's all about understanding someone mentally and emotionally and connecting with them on a very, very deep level. Because RNI helps us to understand people, and we want to feel understood, and we want to have this symbiosis, if that makes any sense. This symbiosis of unity that comes from emotionally connecting with someone on such a level of depth that only our NI can help us to understand. That's why an EN partner is best suited for an INFJ. Someone whose dominant function is extroverted intuition, because they can kind of relate on that deep emotional sense. So, an EN partner is best for an INFJ for that reason. But going on to number two, they manipulate others into soothing their emotional cravings. I kind of already talked about this. But when an INFJ becomes so dependent on other people that they feel like that person has to fill this void for us so that we can be happy, it ends up creating a new type of craving that wasn't originally there. And I'm speaking from experience as well as NI. My NI is telling me this. I don't know how I know, but I always trust it. And my videos always turn out right, and then science proves it later, and I'm like, what do you know? So I'm trusting it. but also from experience. When you constantly depend on other people to fill that gap, that emotional gap, for better lack of terms in your soul, just because I don't know how else to express these thoughts that I'm getting from my NI. So for better lack of terms, when an INFJ has an unmet emotional gap in their soul, it's like there's a void that needs to be filled, and they look to other people to fill that void. It creates a new type of craving. It's temporarily satisfied, but it plays out much like a self-destructive behavior. And if you don't know what that is, self-destructive behavior, simply put, is repressing issues and running from them. It's like having a pot that starts boiling, and then you take a lid and you put it on the pot, and it keeps boiling underneath, and you try to forget that it's there. And you do anything you can to distract yourself from the boiling pot, and whenever it starts, steaming, and the pot starts doing this, and the lid starts coming off, and you say no, and you take a 20-pound rock and you slam it on top of the lid. You say, be quiet and stay there, I'm not dealing with you right now. And you keep on running. That's basically self-destructive behavior. That's not what happens when an INFJ naturally craves these emotional connections with people. It is, however, what happens, or I should say, the same effects begin being applied when we constantly turn to other people. It's like a drug. We need more and more and more, and we keep feeling empty inside. And this leads us to a very unhealthy mental process, to where we begin feeling depressed, like we're just missing out on life, and we're just unhappy individuals. So that's number 2. Number 3 is they are very clingy and may demand too much from their partner or friend. It doesn't matter if it's your friend or your partner. If you're constantly feeling like you need to be validated, this is a sign that you are an unhealthy INFJ. When you constantly need your significant other or your friend to compliment you and tell you what a great job you did, or to let you know that you're not stupid, you're not a mess, you're not a failure, or whatever other thoughts might come to mind, just not understood. Well, I care about you, I'm just unloved. Well, I think you're loved. It doesn't matter what they think if you don't believe it. And if you feel unloved, and then you go to someone else to try, again, back to number 2, to meet your needs, you'll become very clingy, and you'll develop a personal attachment to different people that you meet. Anytime you start building a deep, intimate connection with someone, you will begin becoming clingy and attached to them, and it actually starts becoming a little bit fearful of a relationship, and you become anxious and worried, and you don't even know why, but it's your NI running in the background. And that's why you just don't understand things at the time. And as later you realize why you were afraid and what you were afraid of happening, you don't know why that fear was there, but you understand why you were afraid of that person leaving you or hurting you, or the moment they stop validating you, you're going to be brokenhearted again for whatever reason. And this definitely ties into your own personal issues. That's kind of what an unhealthy INFJ is. We get so much junk from the world because we're empaths, and we're constantly giving to other people, and we're broken in the process because people just don't understand how to interact with us and what our natural needs are and our natural desires, and we get shut down from a young age. We all do. All INFJs, unless they're surrounded by a very close group of people that protects them or helps them to be understood, which generally doesn't happen. I'd say that's incredibly rare. Considering how rare male INFJs are, 0.4% of all INFJ types, that's not a lot. That's 0.8% at the most. I'm getting off track. Reason I'm saying that is, if you go to a private school, maybe. If you're homeschooled, sure, that might work. But if you go to a public school, I would say 80 out of 81 times an INFJ is just shut down and misunderstood. Now maybe that number's a pretty big stretch. I would say it's more like 19 out of 20 times. And yeah, that sounds more right. I would say 0.05% of the time, 1 out of every 20 INFJs is not hurt and shut down from an early point in their life. So when these issues begin to fester in your heart, INFJs are still loving by nature. We're empaths. We just want to love people. We want to connect. We want to take their hurt away. It's natural to us. We can't stop doing that. We can't just stop loving people. So we continue to love in our brokenness, and this is what terms an unhealthy INFJ. There's nothing wrong with you, per se. It's more that there's things that you need healing in your psyche for. When your psyche is damaged, you have all these repressed thoughts, or it's trauma, and trauma changes your DNA, studies have shown. People who have suffered from PTSD pass it on to their kids, and their kids are at risk for PTSD, as well as anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts. Why does that happen? Because it's in the DNA. Studies have shown that trauma actually changes your DNA, and you can become fearful and like relive the memory over and over. It's actually trauma. That's pretty much PTSD. But the point I'm trying to make is, when you let those issues fester and you continue trying to love people, you'll run into problems. So we'll move on to number 4. This one actually isn't tied in to personal issues. It can be, but generally it's not. This next issue is something that all INFJs face at some point or another. We see the bad in the world. We see the good in the world. We see what the world could be if there wasn't so much evil. And we develop expectations and strong moral standards for ourselves, but we hold other people to it. You might say that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing until those expectations become unrealistic based on your experiences and your personal perspective. When an INFJ takes their personal perspective and they place it as the foundation for their beliefs, their core beliefs and morals, do not make any mistake. You will go wrong at some period. I don't care what you say, they are unrealistic. You cannot base your morals off of your emotions. One, because you never know what is causing your emotions to make you feel the way that you do. INFJs do not get upset for no reason. Our environment affects us. We're empaths, and we are so affected by stimuli, prone to overstimulation. Sometimes we're upset and we don't even know why. Okay, you can't base your moral standards on something that upset you when you don't even remember the memory at this point, or why you were upset in the first place, or why you even made the standards that you did. If that's your way of thinking, then you are going to be unhealthy, period. I'm not saying you'll show every sign in this list. I'm saying you will show a sign of an unhealthy INFJ. It is going to be destructive, and it is going to be a self-sabotaging vice in all of your relationships, including your own with yourself. INFJs are known for loving other people and understanding them. Okay? Introverts are known for understanding themselves because we spend so much time in our head thinking about ourselves. We know our wants. We know what we're lacking, but we don't always know what we need, and that is a problem. When we know what we're lacking and we place the foundation for our morals on what we are lacking and expect someone else to measure up to that standard, it's unrealistic. It is going to fail us. And then we move on to number 5. They suffer from symptoms of clinical depression. I didn't say that we are depressed. I said we suffer symptoms because we let ourselves down. An unhealthy INFJ has standards for themselves that they cannot meet, and we set ourselves up for failure. I am not saying that this is technically unhealthy. It is a personal struggle that even I still struggle with, and I am a healthy INFJ. I am saying the clinical depression part is the unhealthy part. Setting ourselves up for failure because we have such high ideals, and I mean we're idealists. We have such high senses of idealism and desires and what we believe the world could be, and then whenever we fail ourselves, we're hard on ourselves. We are critics because we cannot have any mistakes being made. Any mistake at all means that everything can go into the water. All the plans for humanity gone just like that. We can't afford mistakes. We're here for a purpose, and we're here for other people. I can't tell you how many times I have played out a social scenario in my head over and over and over, and thought of everything that the person could say and how to approach every single angle and scenario in my NI. I do this because I cannot go to them and not have an answer. When they come to me, or I go to them and we have a conversation about something that needs to be addressed. Maybe it's your personal abuse. Dude, you were abused as a kid. I get it. You're angry, but you've got to deal with this. I have to play that out in my head. How are they going to respond? What are they going to say? If he gets angry, he's likely to do this because my NI is telling me this is his personality and how he's likely to react. If he does respond, this is likely what he's going to say, and he's going to put up a wall and be kind of socially awkward and not want to talk about it, but he'll still listen. And after about 5 minutes, he'll stop listening. So I have to figure out within those 2 minutes how to relay the message to him in a way that he'll understand, but yet he won't shut down, and then I can just leave and leave it to him. But I have to make sure that I give the information to him in a way that he's going to interpret it, dissect it, and then do something with it. One mistake throws everything out of the water. INFJs do not do mistakes. And whenever we fail, we are hard on ourselves because we made the mistake. That is not unhealthy. That is our personality. And we love people, and it is our method of treating the world and their sicknesses. There is nothing wrong with you for planning things out and then being hard on yourself. I'm not saying it's good to be hard on yourself. We need to learn to love ourselves because we do make mistakes. There are times when our NI just misses something because we don't have the experience. NI is a web of interpersonal knowledge. We've never experienced this type of behavior before. We've never seen someone with this mental depression. We've never talked to someone who has acted this way. Their experiences are something like we've never understood, and we're hard on ourselves because we couldn't help them. We could not help them. That's fact. We couldn't. Our NI didn't have the information. We couldn't do anything. We need to learn to love ourselves and understand that there are some things that even we just don't have the experience for. And that's part of what leads us to crave knowledge. We just want to help people and connect with people. And the more we know, the more we can connect with. And when we can connect with someone, it allows us to feel fulfilled and satisfied. Okay? There's nothing wrong with us. And yet, when an INFJ sets up expectations they cannot meet, and other people cannot meet, and we let ourselves down because we can't meet our own unrealistic expectations, we will suffer from symptoms of clinical depression, where we just will feel hopeless and depressed, and we won't want to get out of bed, and we won't want to talk to anyone, but our craving for that connection is still there, and then it depresses us even further because we realize we don't have what we need, and we don't want to go to someone to give us what we need, and then we've given up hope, so there's no point in even talking to anyone, and they won't understand me, and I'm just unloved, and I'm just depressed, and I don't know why, but I'm so anxious, and I'm just not going to be happy. I just don't have any friends. And we use absolutes: never, always, only. Yeah, okay, it's like people. You don't even say the person's name anymore. You're just generalizing everything. And this is a trademark of an INFJ that is very unhealthy. These are the toxic INFJs, as they are termed. These are people who are like leeches. Take, and they're so empty inside, and they'll just keep on taking, and they're still empty. Why? Because they are emotionally damaged, and they need to correct this. Nobody else can correct this issue for you. You have to do it. And the only way to do it is to either get counseling or do self-reflection and figure out the root cause. There is no other way. Nobody can heal you. You are damaged from the world, and you can only receive that healing by digging into your own emotional soul, figuring out what happened, and dealing with the core issue. And if you want me to have a one-on-one session with you, by the way, I'm going to school for therapy. That's what I'm majoring in. Psychology, and I'm going to be a therapist. So if you want me to have a one-on-one session, I am a healthy INFJ. My intuition is incredibly strong. Stronger than any INFJ that I've seen on YouTube or talked to before in person. It is incredibly strong. So powerful. If you want a one-on-one session, I can talk to you. It can be over the phone, it can be on Facebook, I don't care. We can be a Skype call, I can go live on YouTube. Of course, until I have 1,000 subscribers, I can't actually live stream. And I know I'm kind of deviating, but this is important. You can comment, you can send me a message. I will talk to you, I will reply, I will pray for you, I will do whatever it takes to help you. But you have to be willing is the first step. I'm not telling you come to me. I am not advertising myself. I am not charging any fees. I just want to help you. If you want my help, I'll do it free of charge. I'll give you my time and energy. You deserve to be happy. But you have to be willing, and you have to understand no one else can give it to you. Don't come to me expecting me to give you what you need. You have to get what you need, and I can help you to understand why you are needing. Okay? So let this message be for everyone that has any issue in this video. The only thing I ask is that you like my video so that other people will be more drawn to it and I can help them. please, by all means, subscribe. I'm constantly releasing more content about INFJs and things of the sort. But I am not going to require you to do anything. I want you to like my video. If you don't, if you just leave a comment, I will help you. I'm not asking anything in return. A healthy INFJ gives selflessly with no respect for themselves because they are well. They are sound. They don't need anything from anyone. Which leads me to number 6. They are easily swayed by their emotions. An unhealthy INFJ is constantly being led by their emotions to take, to give, to act, or to respond to something. That's pretty self-explanatory. Here's the next one. Number 7. They have a desire to give into their they have desire, but they give into their cravings instead. They want, but they do not give. They want to help, but instead they take away. They want to be selfless, but instead they are selfish. They want, but do not do. For example, you want to be compassionate towards your significant other. She said something that upset you. You guys got into an argument. You're talking, she's crying on the bed. She's crying on the bed, and you say, and she says, I wish you would have just listened to me. The INFJ, the unhealthy INFJ would respond in a manner like this. Well, I wouldn't mind listening to you. I wouldn't mind listening to you if you don't mind doing something for me. Then they will catch themselves in their words and be like, oh shoot. No, I wanted to just love her. But you know what? I want to be loved. And they'll become very defensive or emotionally aggressive. And then they'll say something like this. And I'm speaking for male INFJs. I don't know about female, but definitely for male. Then they'll say something like this. They will attempt to explain their erratic behavior that they just exhibited by attempting to sound compassionate and kind-hearted, when in reality, they're just trying to correct the mistake they made because they're feeling guilty. And again, that goes back to number 4. That they hold unrealistic expectations to themselves. And then it goes into number 5. And they suffer from clinical depression and are easily swayed by their emotions. Back to number 1. They're constantly wanting. Then it goes to number 2, that they have emotional cravings and they give in to them instead of being selfless. And mature INFJ is not like this. They said, well, I wouldn't mind listening to you next if you don't mind doing something for me. Then they'll attempt to explain their erratic behavior by sounding compassionate and kind-hearted. I want to make you happy and I want you to feel loved. It's just, I hate it when you fill in the blank. It's just, I don't know how to fill in the blank. Back to me. It's just, I feel like back to me. That's an immature INFJ's trademark behavior. Is when they are in conflict, to avoid dealing with the conflict, they go back to their own needs. Because once their needs are met, no conflict. RNI knows this. RNI knows we could give, and never, ever take if we were only fulfilled, but we're not. And the longer you ignore this fact, the longer you will be unhappy as an INFJ in this world. You will never, ever, ever feel satisfied completely. You will always feel empty and broken inside until you deal with these issues. You need to be sound before you can give. You cannot give what you have not received. And you cannot receive from others what you need, because what you need is beyond what the world can give to you. The whole reason why you have needs in the first place is because no one in the entire world can give you what you need. Okay? You cannot take from someone else and then give back to them. You cannot receive before you give. And you cannot give without receiving. The only way that an INFJ, actually any personality type, but in this case from this topic, the only way an INFJ can be sound and the only way an INFJ can be made healthy is by receiving emotional healing. That is the only way. The only way. So I'm going to stop here before I continue going on tangents. I'm becoming incredibly passionate, and that is not what this video is about. This video is about helping people. So after watching this, if you recognized any of these signs, and I'll post them in the comments and in the description so that you can see both. If you notice any of these signs reflect to you, consider dealing with the root cause. There is a root cause. Aside from the one where I said, we have expectations and we're hard on ourselves whenever we don't meet them because one mistake can blow everything into the water, that's not unhealthy. That's just us wanting to make sure that people are well, and that we help people the way that they deserve to be helped, and that we want to help them. And one mistake means we didn't help them, and that breaks us. There's nothing wrong with you for that. However, everything else on the list, up to the clinical depression and moving on, if you recognize any of these signs in your own life or in the life of an INFJ, you might want to consider doing some self-searching. No one else can help you. Go to a counselor, go to a therapist. They can help you understand the reasons, but you're seeking something that people can't give you. You're hurt, and your psyche is damaged, and somewhere along the line, you never noticed the issue or you ignored it. And it needs to be dealt with. I'm not saying that it's self-destructive. What I am saying is it's potentially or intentionally repressed. And you're never going to be able to feel complete and happy and genuinely sound in your mind and in your heart until you can recognize and deal with these issues. So again, if you recognize these signs and you want to talk to me and you honestly want my help, I can help you if you are willing. And you have to be willing to go through the hurt and the pain in the process, because it is not an easy process. I have been through it for a year now, and I can honestly tell you it does hurt, but it is worth it in the end. Let me know. Send me a message. Comment below. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me what you want me to talk about next. Tell me if there's a particular instance, a particular topic. Comment. I will help you. I want to help you. I want to make you feel understood and loved, and like you can start to heal. And if you can be as ambiguous and anonymous as you want, you can make a completely different YouTube account and no one will ever know that it's you. I don't care what you do. But if this is you, please don't wait. Don't go on hurting. You don't have to hurt anymore. Let me know a specific situation. Say, what do you think would be the cause if Charlie was talking to Sally and Sally did this, and you can paint your personal experience. And you can say, and Charlie was an INFJ and he was acting this way. What might be the reason for that? Tell me, ask me, I will help you understand everything. I will pick it apart piece by piece and leave no questions asked. Give me a chance to help you. Comment below, send me a message, and if you send me a message, I will make a video and it will be anonymous. No one will ever know, complete confidentiality, but give me a chance to help you. Give me a chance to minister to you. I can give because I have received. I can give because I've received first.